operator precedence parsing or operator precedence grammar. A grammar G is called an operator precedence grammar if it meets the following two conditions. There exists no production rule which contain epsilon on its right hand side. There exists no production rule which contains two non-terminals adjacent to each other on its right hand side. A parser that reads and understands an operator precedence grammar is called as operator precedence parser. So consider an example which is not an operator precedence grammar. E tends to E, A, E, or E, or minus E, or ID. So here A is nothing but we can substitute it with plus, minus, star, division and mod. And example of a grammar which is an operator precedence grammar. E tends to E plus E, or E minus E, E star E, or E modulo E, E minus E, and ID. Operator precedence can be established between the terminals of the grammar. It ignores the non-terminals. So operator precedence can be established only between the terminals of the grammar. So the rules which we follow for the parsing actions are: both end of the given input string add dollar symbol. So for the input string we need to add the dollar symbol at the both ends. Now scan the input string from left to right until greater symbol is encountered. So until greater symbol is encountered, we need to scan the input string from left to right. Scan towards left over all the equal precedence until the first leftmost less than is encountered. Scan towards left over all the equal precedence. Everything between leftmost and rightmost is handled. Dollar on dollar means parsing is successful. There are three operator precedence relations: A greater than B. Terminal A has higher precedence than B. A less than B. Terminal A has lower precedence than B. A equal to B. Terminal A and B have same precedence. So this is the precedence table, and in this we have written the greater than, less than, or equal to symbols. So the rules are ID, A, B and C have high precedence, and dollar is having low precedence, plus on plus is having greater than precedence, and star on star also greater than. ID and ID is not equal to, and dollar is accepted. So this is the precedence table. Plus on plus is greater than, plus on star is less than, plus on left parenthesis is less than, plus on right parenthesis is greater than, plus on ID is less than, plus on dollar is greater than. Star on plus is greater than, star on star is greater than, star on left parenthesis is less than, star on right parenthesis is greater than, star on ID is less than, star on dollar is greater than. Left parenthesis on plus is less than, left parenthesis on star is less than, left parenthesis on left parenthesis is less than, left parenthesis on right parenthesis is equal to, and left parenthesis on ID is less than, left parenthesis and dollar is not equal to. So this is the table. Just have a look of this table of precedence, and consider with this example you will understand clearly. So consider the following grammar and construct the operator precedence parser. E tends to E, A, E or ID. A tends to plus or star. So the string we need to parse is ID plus ID star ID. So solution is E tends to, in place of A we are substituting it with plus and star. E tends to E plus E or E star E or ID. So the terminal symbols here are ID plus star and dollar. So to construct the operator precedence parser there are some steps. So first step is check operator precedence grammar, and the next step is construct the relation table, and third step is parse the input string, and fourth one is generate parse tree. So first step is check operator precedence grammar, and the next one is the precedence table. So this is the precedence table. ID plus star and dollar, the terminal symbols, and ID plus star and dollar. So ID on ID, ID on ID, not accepted. ID on plus greater than, ID on star greater than, ID on dollar greater than, plus on ID less than, plus on plus greater than, plus on star less than, plus on dollar greater than, star on ID less than, star on plus greater than, star on star greater than, star on dollar greater than, dollar on ID less than, dollar on plus less than, dollar on star less than, dollar on dollar accepted. So here ID is having the highest precedence, dollar is having the lowest precedence, plus on plus is having greater than, and dollar is having dollar and dollar is accepted, and star on star is having greater than. We need to parse the given input string ID plus ID star ID. So stack, relation, input and action. So in the stack, the starting will be dollar, and write the input string here, that is ID plus ID star ID, and we need to place dollar at the end of the input string, and the action. So now check here, dollar on ID. By using this table, we need to derive this. Dollar on ID. Dollar on ID, we have less than. So place the symbol here. Dollar on ID is less than. Okay. So the action here is shift ID. So first, the relationship, how we put here the first one, you need to check this stack with the input dollar on ID. So this relation is less than. And now what action we need to perform? We are performing here two actions, shift and reduce. So shift ID. So ID is been shifted here. Now check ID on the input, ID on plus. So check here, ID on plus greater than. So ID on plus is greater than. So we have taken the greater than symbol. So ID on plus is greater than. Okay. So now check what operation can be performed, either shift or reduce. So first reduce can be performed, that is we can reduce by E tends to ID. Reduce E tends to ID, that is ID can be replaced with E. ID is replaced with E, and now write the input string, and now check the relation E on plus. E on plus. Check here. Now check here, dollar on plus, dollar on plus. So check here, dollar on plus less than. Okay. See here, dollar on plus we have less than. So less than is being kept in this relation. Now what we need to do, shift plus. This plus is been shifted here, write the remaining input string. Now check again. Now check again that plus on ID. Plus on ID is less than. So plus on ID is less than. We kept the less than symbol here. So we are performing the shift operation here. Shift ID. ID is been shifted here. Now again ID on star. ID on star. Check here. ID on star greater than. So ID on star, I have put the greater than symbol. So now reduce operation can be performed by reduce E tends to ID. So ID is being replaced with E. So as E is the non-terminal, you need to check with the before terminal symbol, that is plus on star. Plus on star, what is the symbol we have? Plus on star, we have less than. So less than should be placed here. Plus on star, so less than we kept here. Now shift star, so star has been shifted here. Now star on ID, star on id. So star on id is less than. Okay, now reduce e tends to e star e. Okay, star on dollar, check here, star on dollar greater than. So star on dollar greater than, so greater than symbol is been placed. So now reduce e star e with e. So reduce it with e, and now plus on dollar, plus on dollar is greater than, plus on dollar is greater than. So greater than symbol is placed. So reduce e tends to e plus e. So e plus e is reduced with e, and here dollar and dollar, that is being reached to the starting symbol. Dollar and dollar is nothing but accept. So a is nothing but here accept, and the action is accept. Now we need to generate the parse tree by using bottom up approach using this table. Okay, now e tends to e plus e, e tends to e star e. E is reduced with id, e is reduced with id, and e is reduced with id. So the given input string is id plus id star id. So this is how we do the operator precedence parsing or operator precedence grammar.